What's going on, y'all? This is Trice, and today we're going to talk about how the son of an NBA legend is the key to rebuilding a dynasty in Golden State. A 6'3" guard with the Warriors, Gary Payton is currently on his 7th franchise in 5 years in the NBA. Now, I think it's important to remember that Gary Payton barely made the Warriors roster this year, edging out veteran defender Avery Bradley in training camp for that 15th spot, which is what makes his contributions over the past few games that much more impressive. In the past 3 games, after seeing a boost in playing time, he's averaged 18.5 minutes, around 10 points per game, and 5 rebounds to go with 2 assists. But the biggest contribution I want to talk about today, and what I think he brings to the table the most for Golden State, is on the other side of the floor. In those 3 games, Gary Payton was able to compile 8 steals. Again, that's 8 steals in 3 games, where he also had a plus-minus of 27 and 23 in back-to-back blowout wins for Golden State. This takes me right into what I think he brings to the table the most for the Warriors, and why I think he could have a very important part in their rotation as the season progresses and into the playoffs at the end of the year. Payton fills a role for Golden State that has been left empty ever since Klay Thompson went down in the finals 2 years ago, and that is an on-ball guard defender. Now, they've got plenty of guys who have linked on defense on the wing and forward positions, guys like Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green, Juan Toscano Anderson, Andre Iguodala. They have plenty of people who can guard those 3 through 5, sometimes a 2, but they don't have anybody, especially with Klay being out, that can consistently guard the 1. What Gary Payton brings to the table is someone with an incredible athletic ability and a drive on the defensive end who doesn't have to focus on scoring. They have plenty of guys at the 1 and 2 that can fill the stat sheet up on the offensive end. What they need is someone who's going to be willing to be a glue guy on the defensive end and set the tone defensively for the rest of the team. I think Gary Payton fills that role absolutely perfectly. If you watch him the last few games, he does a great job of moving his feet on defense. He's got really good length that he uses to deflect passes, to get in passing lanes, to disrupt the flow of the opposing team's offense. And that's why I think he can carve out some significant minutes with this roster. One thing that I really like that he's done in the past few games is he's shown the value he can have in not only getting steals, but then getting out in transition. He's played point guard his whole career, all the way back to his days at Oregon State, being a point guard, being a guy who can facilitate. So now you've got him being able to get out in transition after getting defensive stops. He's shown that he always keeps his eyes up court. He's thrown some nice lobs in transition. He's really good at finding shooters around the perimeter. I think that in his limited role, in his limited usage on offense, that's huge. He has to be able to find the open man because that's his role on the offensive end. He does a really good job playing off ball. He's a really good player at filling gaps, just kind of finding those creases in the defense where he can just get the ball, either get a quick shot around the basket, back cuts, hit another man on the perimeter. He's very good at not wasting his time with the possession of the ball. And I think that's what makes him different from other guys they've tried to fill that glue guy role. Sometimes you have guys that come in on offense that try to do too much. Someone like Gary Payton is going to do the bare minimum, what they need him to do, and exert the majority of his energy on the defensive end. As we've seen through the highlights over the past week, Gary Payton's extremely athletic. I remember watching him back at Oregon State and seeing him do fast break windmill dunks and get out on the break and throw down lobs. Like, he's a very athletic player that can rise above the defense and get active on the fast break, and that's exactly what Golden State's going to need from him, especially as they're playing a more fast-paced style this season. I believe if Gary Payton can continue to play this role to perfection, being that focal point of the defense around the perimeter, being able to bring him into the game when an opposing guy is getting hot and slow them down, be able to get in their head, be able to essentially play similar to the role that his dad played, obviously to a lesser extent, but being able to essentially lock him on to whoever the opposing team's best on-ball threat is and just cause havoc is what at the end of the day can make or break a team, especially in the playoffs. And that's why I think he is their X factor this season. Like, Payton has the potential to be the kind of guy who can totally disrupt an opposing team's offense. And that's something that Golden State has been missing ever since they made their finals runs. So the fact that he can come in, potentially play that role, potentially continue to gain those minutes is going to be a massive win for Golden State going down the stretch, and I think it's a big reason why they've been successful this far. Being able to insert guys into the game like Gary Payton, like Juan Toscano Anderson, like an aging Andre Iguodala, who are willing to do the dirty work, willing to crash the boards, willing to chase after loose balls, willing to really lock down on defense. Those are things that separate championship winning teams. We saw the Milwaukee Bucks last year with PJ Tucker. People who are willing to fill roles, do the things that nobody else wants to do, and at the end of the day, it's those small contributions that can be the difference in winning a ring. So that being said, I'm really looking forward to how Payton plays as the season progresses. I want to see if Steve Kerr is going to give him a bigger chunk of the rotation now that he's had a few games to prove himself and show that he can fill a legitimate role on this team. But I'm curious what you have to say. What do you think about Gary Payton's game? Do you think he can find a place on Golden State in the middle of their major rotation minutes? Can he carve out 15 to 20 minutes a game just to be that defensive juggernaut that they need? I think it would be extremely beneficial to them to start working him into that rotation and get him ready for those moments, because they're going to need him and his defense, especially in a deep playoff run. But that's all I have for y'all today. Be sure to check out some of my other content if you enjoyed this video. I have some great original documentaries and short films that I'm sure you'll enjoy, and I definitely recommend you checking them out. Be sure to drop a like, leave feedback in the comment section below, and subscribe for more, and I'll catch y'all next time. If you enjoyed this content, be sure to drop a like, leave feedback in the comment section below, and subscribe for more. We got some exciting things coming up soon, and you don't want to miss out, so be sure to ring that notifications bell and be on the lookout for full episodes of 101 on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as soon as they come available.